And I guess one thing I want to ask you too is, I reached out and we have this conversation. You're on a podcast. I mean, you've been around, you've talked about marketing and like getting the message out there. Like you talked about a newsletter earlier with, I don't want to get the name right. You could say Sandlot.
Buying Sandlot.
Sandlot, right? Like, and going to an event and being on a panel, like getting the message out. It's so different than it was probably for when you were doing startup early on 20 years ago, right? I mean, how podcast comes to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember when podcasts first came out, right? I was like, hey, what's the concept? It took me a while to kind of, okay, so it's like a radio interview, but you can download it. And, you know what I mean? Like it was something pretty, it was hard for me to kind of wrap my head around it. But I think case in point here is that the way media is consumed by people, it's interesting is that my wife is the one who is really into podcasts, right? And she finds it such a nice way to get up to speed, listen to content she wants, whether it's informative or entertainment. And while she's, waiting for, coincidentally, my daughter to finish up soccer practice. And
of course. Yeah.
She's sitting in the parking lot, right? I do it too. But I don't know, it just feels like suddenly the way that media is consumed and produced, right, to obviously be consumed, has changed really like dramatically over the last, say, like probably 4 to 5 years. And I think one of the manifestations of that is connecting with, buying Sandlot. It was over LinkedIn, right? Which is the professional social network, and the signaling that they do with their algorithms kind of bubbled up that we should connect. And one thing led to another, and suddenly he's an advisor and I'm speaking on a panel, and there's this great sort of awareness that we're trying to build out there. So that does change a lot of how businesses get launched, how they thrive. Where do you focus your efforts on from a go-to-market strategy? A lot of things, you just got to be on top of it. And you can't predict and you can't be an expert because sometimes things are moving so fast that if anyone says they're an expert in something, you got to kind of call them out on it. It's like, this thing just kind of took off 6 months ago. You can't be an expert.
Yes, right. It's impossible.
But sorry, I'm going to call BS on that.
Right.
But the fact remains that if you've got a very kind of strategic mindset, going back to like, what do you tell people coming out of college these days? It's like, think big picture, try to proactively think about what's next and how can you use these rapidly emerging tools that are getting faster to provide value to wherever you end up, working or whether you're starting something yourself.
Yeah, I get it. It's like the media side of it, the leverage that you get from it, where you're sharing this message and your thoughts and opinions, and it's not all about on sides, right? We just sit here and like, it's not an infomercial, talk about all the details, right? Yeah. It's a conversation and someone can say, I really like what Dave has to say and that matters to me and that's interesting. I want to take a look at this, or someone else. Then there's deal flow, right? Like you just said, like someone reaches out, you're like, where did this person come from? And that person might not even remember where it came from. I just tell, like, it's just, and that with AI synthesizing all this information, like instantly, it's looking at the transcript, it's looking at this, it's looking at that. It's like, okay, well, this, he's out here talking about this, that, and the other, and college, and like, this is wild. And it's like, you maybe want to check out this app, or you want to feature him on your panel for the future sports tech convention that's coming up in Los Angeles in next 6 months or so. I don't know. But all that stuff works together. Yeah.
No, I think you bring up a great point about the AI side, is that if you really kind of take a step back and think about what did social media do, right? It amplified signals and it democratized opinions, right? Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But I think there's this next wave of AI that's actually, in my sort of very simplistic point of view, I think AI is going to signal boost in a way that is not unlike what social media did, 15, 20 years ago. As you said, AI is scraping all this stuff. It's ingesting it. It's learning, right? And you may have seen there's waves of like how Google search is no longer going to be a channel for a lot of advertising. It's going to be, can you just shove out enough content where the LLMs are learning, and make sure that it suggests your business and your service when people ask? So already the paradigm is shift in terms of the distribution strategy for all of this stuff. And I think opinions and just content like this it's just part of that whole machine.
This podcast exists because of the team at CasCM. CasCM is a B2B content production company helping organizations create and share their stories. We aim to create space where businesses can build assets and drive revenue through writing and talking. Content creation should be enjoyable and accessible. At CASCM, we love helping make that happen. Learn more at CASCM.com.